Hey there, and welcome to Chatting in Cars with Craig. My name is Craig from Flying Wheels, and this month is my birthday month. This is a milestone for me, and I'm really excited to share this video with you because I make these videos to explain to you not just how cars work, not how the car industry works, but life in general. Like, how did I get where I am? I want to share my stories, good and bad. I want to share my experiences, and I want to share like good things that have happened to me and decisions I've made that have got me where I am today to hopefully help you one day if you ever get in that position. Now, this is a big video for me because, like I said, it's a milestone birthday, and I want to share with you how I became a millionaire before the age of 40. It sounds easy to say. Yes, that is an easy thing to say. When I was 21, my father asked me what my goals in life were, and I said, I want to be a millionaire by the time I'm 40. Oh, that sounds great. Well, how are you going to do it? I have no idea how I'm going to do it. And in this video today, I'm going to explain to you at this stage of my life, now that I'm turning 40, if I could tell my 21-year-old self the answer to that question, how are you going to do it? This is the answer to that question. So this is me talking to my 21-year-old self, and anyone out there looking to do the same exact thing, to do well in their lives and achieve far beyond what their expectations were, which is an amazing thing for me to be able to say and share with you guys. My name is Craig from Flying Wheels. This is a cool video. Let's get started. So again, welcome to Chatting in Cars with Craig. I don't make these videos to say, look at me, look at me, look at how well I'm doing. That isn't the purpose of this video, and I really, really hope it doesn't come across this way. I want to share my successes just as much as I want to share my failures with you guys, so you can hopefully skip those failures and don't make those same mistakes and learn from my mistakes, and also learn from decisions that I've made and risked and gambled that have worked out really well for me. And in today's video, I want to share with you how I became a millionaire before the age of 40. And that's really exciting for me because it happened well before the age of 40, which is a really, really neat thing to say. And it not only gives you a little bit of confidence in your decisions and in life, it helps to take away from the fear and stress when you have a little bit of a cushion. And as John Goodman said in the movie The Gambler, it's FU money, and it makes you feel just a little bit more confident in yourself, and it helps to build it for the future for you. The first million is the hardest to make, and from there everything gets a little bit easier. Now, when my father asked me what my goals were when I was 21, I said I want to be a millionaire by the age of 40. He said, how are you going to do it? I had no answer for him. And now that I'm turning 40, I do have that answer, and it's backwards. What do you mean, Craig? Backwards. Work backwards. Had I known at that point, which is what he told me at that point, you need to figure out at the end and work back to 21. So if I want to be a millionaire by the time I'm 40, let's start at the age 40. You have $1 million. No, you don't have $1 million. You don't need $1 million in cash. And if you have $1 million in cash, you're probably doing something wrong because you don't need it. You can have it in assets, diversification in other assets. Now, if I know what I need to be a millionaire at 40, I can work on how to get there. So what do I need by the time I'm 40 years old? I need to have $1 million in assets. What is $1 million in assets? Is it cars? Is it real estate? Is it a business? Is it property? What is it going to be? How much do you need to make to sustain that? I'm going to try to say this in very easy terms, and I'm going to work with what I have as examples. That way it's not just me throwing out ideas. I'm turning 40, and I have 8 commercial real estate units. I bought this building a few years ago. It pays for itself. When it's paid for, it will then pay me my retirement. So you're looking forward to the future. That is financial planning. So I'm not just saying, yeah, I want to be a millionaire at 40. I'm working on financial future. Well, when I'm ready to retire, when this building is paid off, I can stop working and just collect the rents, and then that is my retirement right there. But I'll have other assets as well that will pay me. This is like if I stopped right now and that building was paid for, I could survive off of that. Now, how did I get that building? How did I get the 8 units? Well, I needed to have a 20% down payment. In order to have a 20% down payment on $1 million building, you need $200,000 in your bank account. How do I get $200,000? Now we're working backwards. That's the example. Well, let's start from the very beginning now. I own several businesses. Now, I didn't start just jumping in owning several businesses. I started with a small car dealership in my driveway. I was selling a single car when I started. So you grow slowly and calculated. I always say that, slow and calculated growth. I started small, and I didn't accumulate negative debt. What is negative debt? Like credit card debt. And I didn't accumulate like car loans and just like nonsense payments. As Dave Ramsey would say, which I'm not an advocate of Dave Ramsey to create wealth, but I am as far as savings things and paying off bad debt. So if you look at what he says, you live within your means. You don't overspend, you don't overbuy. My entire life, if I couldn't afford it, I did not buy it. If I cannot pay for it in cash, I will not buy it. Now that doesn't mean don't use credit. I will use my credit to purchase something as long as I have the cash to back it up. So if I ever get an emergency situation and I have to pay something off, I can use my cash to pay it off. But for now, I'll use my credit to buy that item, and then I have my cash to invest into other things and make money off those things. Now I hope I'm not confusing you, because I want to make sense with everything. I started at the end, where what I'm at right now. I have an 8-unit commercial building. I own my garage where I have my business. I have a property up north that we make money off of, and then the house is paid off too. And the reason I did these things is because I don't want debt. Negative debt, bad debt. What is good debt? Good debt is like my commercial building. I don't own that building. I have a bank mortgage on that property. Let's say the mortgage is $8,000 with taxes and insurance and everything else, but that building makes $10,000 a month, and then calculate all your expenses. So even if it breaks even, it's paying off that bad debt and accumulating of positive equity in the building, or a net profit at the end. So it took that bad debt to make the profit. If I just went and bought myself a Ferrari, that is bad debt. That car is not making me any money. So I don't need credit cards. I don't need a Ferrari when I'm starting out my life. It is bad debt. It is not making me any money. Good debt makes me money. Bad debt costs me money. Now back to the beginning. When I started in my driveway, I started keeping my overhead low. I only purchased what I needed, and I did not overspend. And as I accumulated a little more, I reinvested into myself and into my business. As my business grew, we moved from my driveway to a bigger commercial unit, to a bigger commercial unit, to a larger commercial unit. Now I needed money from the banks. I needed lines of credit to help me start my business. When I was starting my business, no one wanted to help me. No banks would lend me money. It is really, really difficult. And that's why I started slow, and that's why I started small. As things grew and I could prove to the banks that I was making money, that I was profitable, that I was reliable to them, then it wasn't a problem getting loans. It wasn't a problem for people to give me money. I can walk into my bank now and talk to my lender, and he'll give me money for whatever I want because he knows I'm a reliable asset to him. So things snowball and get easier for you, but they're the most difficult at the very, very beginning in early stages. And that's why you need to keep your expenses low. As I grew my business, my single business, I took a little bit of money as I was making money and put some in savings, and I put some to pay off my bad debt, and then eventually I'm debt free. So you want to get debt free. Now that is that Dave Ramsey school of thought where you don't buy anything you don't need and you just pay off your bad debt. Once your bad debt is paid, you can start thinking about good debt. Now, what is good debt? Well, my business grew large enough to buy a commercial property for my business. Now, I think I was just around 30 years old when I bought my first commercial building. I went to the bank and I gave them a business plan, and I said, hey, here's my business. It's established. We make this much money a year. Here's my tax returns. Can I get a loan for financing for the balance? And they looked at all my paperwork. All my ducks were in a row, and they approved me for it. I submitted the offer to the owner with the pre-approval letter. Everything worked out. I bought the building. I then renovated it with my own money, and I have what you see today, Flying Wheels. Well, Flying Wheels did really, really well, and the business grew, and we expanded, and I ended up buying that commercial building. Now, the point of this is to figure out what you need at the end and work backwards to get to where you are now, so you have a plan from the very beginning until the time you're 30 or 40 or 50 or your retirement plan or whatever it is. That is what financial planning is. Now, you also have to think farther ahead. When do I want to stop working? Well, when I'm 50, I don't want to be buying and selling cars every single day and having to rely on that. So I have other contingencies, other plans, and that's diversification. What is diversification? I don't have $1 million in cash. I invest in multiple businesses. I've had a mosquito spraying business. I own property. I own cars as investments. I diversify my money in other means. I don't have all my ducks in one row or all my eggs in one basket. It's not all just Flying Wheels. We have lots of other options that I can rely on that make money. So you have multiple revenue streams. And the best revenue streams are the ones that pay you while you sleep. That is passive income. So we have rental properties. I have YouTube income. We have partnership agreements with other brands. And when I'm sleeping, you're making money. Now, I'm not saying this again to say, look at me, this is how I make my money. I really don't even like sharing my finances with anybody, but this is the reason a lot of you guys watch this, and I'm willing to do it as a thank you to that, and I hope it helps. So I talked about working backwards. I talked about keeping your overhead low. I talked about starting small. Then I talked about creating passive income. Now, you don't need all this cash in your bank account, and when you notice all of a sudden one day when I start to look at how much we have in a wealth account, you can compile everything together and see what your net worth is. So if you take take all of your assets, your home, your cars, your bank accounts, your business, everything you own. Then you take all your bad debt that's negative, that's not making you money, that's costing you money. That is your liabilities. Now, if you subtract your liabilities from your assets, that is your net worth. All of a sudden, one day, you're gonna sit down with a financial advisor and you're gonna look at your net worth and realize it is significantly higher than you had ever anticipated, and you surpassed your goal of doing it before 40 long ago, which I hope you get to. The point is, never buy what you don't need. Now, I want to explain to you one other trick and words that I live by. I am frugal. I do not live beyond my means. Yes, I have lots of cars and lots of toys and like a collector bike collection, but I fly Spirit. I don't fly first class. I don't have a Rolex on my wrist. I don't overspend. I am not a consumer. I live below my means and I make more than I spend, and that's how I can save, and that's how I can accumulate wealth. By making more than you spend and never overspending. The truck you see me driving, yeah, it's a beautiful truck, but it's not brand new and I don't lease it. I own it. I don't buy it if I can't own it. My wife's car, yeah, she drives a Denali, but it has 100,000 miles on it and it's 5 years old. It's not new. Yeah, it has nice, luxurious amenities, and yes, it's a Denali and it's a nice truck, and yeah, it was $70,000 plus new, but it's not now. It's 5 years old and has 100,000 miles. Why? Because we don't need a $70,000 truck or a $1,000 to $1,500 car payment a month. I don't need those expenses on me, and then the more you own, the more you have to work to pay for those things that actually end up owning you. And as Tyler Durden said, the things you own end up owning you.
Things you own end up owning you.
And I'll actually be very impressed if you guys know what movie that's from. Now, the end goal isn't to live in the biggest, fanciest house or wear the nicest clothes or drive the best, most expensive car. The end goal is to have a portfolio that you can live comfortable with. Have go-to-hell money. You can survive off your own portfolio, off your own wealth, and the end is to create generational wealth where you can teach your children how to do the same and teach them how to be financially independent, and you can pass on trusts to them and teach them how to do exactly what you're doing in the future. Now, yes, my house is nice, but it's not the nicest house on the block. It's not the biggest house on the block, and I have lots of friends that live in far nicer houses than I do. But why do I live where I live? I've been there 10 plus years, and it suits our needs. It's not more than we need. I want to go up to my house on the lake. I want to use my boat. I want to take any day that I want off. And in order to do that, I have to be financially free. So I'm less financially free by consuming more and taking on more debt. And you need to focus on what you need and not what you want. Keep your overhead low, keep your costs low. Smart, steady, and slow calculated growth is what you need to sustain, to grow. Don't look at the big picture and say, oh my God, that's never gonna happen. It's too far from me. How am I gonna do that? Look at the end result and make a map, a roadmap of how you're gonna get there. What does step 1 take to get to step 2, to step 3? And then all of a sudden you're gonna be at step 10 one day and go, oh my God, I can't believe I'm here. I can't believe I hit the milestone, the goal. It happened. It's really an incredible feeling. And again, that's why I make these videos, because I hope one day this video helps you achieve your goals, your dreams, gets you everything and more that you had ever wanted. And keep in mind, money doesn't buy happiness, right? But it does take away a lot of stress. It does take a lot of people off of your back. It does give you more confidence in who you are and helps you make your decisions. And remember, I had already said it, starting your first business is the most difficult. Making your first million is the most difficult. But everything snowballs after that. If you've learned how to make a million once, if you've learned how to start a business once, you can replicate it over and over. Any problems that might happen in the future, no one can take your knowledge away from you. No one can take your experience away from you. You cannot rely on working a 9-to-5 job to become independently wealthy. You cannot rely on a 9-to-5 job to make you your own person and supplement you forever in a really, really comfortable lifestyle. A 9-to-5 job, lots of them pay really, really well, but they are designed to keep you working as long as you can, well after retirement. My wife is a teacher and her incentives are to keep her working to 65 years old. She has a carrot dangling in front of her until she's 65. And if she stops before 65, the carrot falls and she loses a lot of opportunities that the school district offered her at the very, very beginning. So they want you working to the very end of your life, and then they'll say, okay, now it's time to enjoy what we have left to give you. And it's really not fair for a lot of people. We do need the 9-to-5 jobs and we can't survive without them. But for the people that have watched all the way to the end of this video, that might not be for you. You might be able to be independently motivated, which is a huge key that I never even mentioned. You need to be motivated, you need to be strong-willed, you can't give up. There's a lot of things. It's really not as easy as I made it sound. There's a lot of endeavors, there's a lot of hoops I've had to jump through, there's a lot of shit I've had had to eat through my entire life, that I've had to suck up, that I've had to cry through, that have just hurt, and you need to be resilient and keep going. I should have said that at the very, very beginning. None of this is easy, but it's worth it in the end. I hit a milestone, and I hope you guys hit the same milestone, and I hope this video was helpful. I know it was long. I just hope it was informative for you. I make these videos because I wish I could watch these videos when I was younger. That's why I do it, so I hope you guys enjoy them. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you're into any of this stuff. I appreciate it. Thumbs up is definitely appreciated. I'll see y'all later. Thanks for watching. Adios.